Sara and the Dragon with the Black Fang, a story by Sami Khiami. Firefox Shadow is the name of the village where our story takes place. The village was built in a foothill of a high mountain, hidden by the thick dark fog near the peak. The origin of the village's name has been always an unfavorable subject to talk about. However, whispers were part of the elders' chat. Sara is a charming, nice young girl living in Firefox Shadow Village. She is well known to be full of courage, energy, and most of all, curiosity. Her hungry mind drives her to seek answers of all questions at any cost. Since she became aware, the query about the origin of the village name and the permanent dark fog around the mountain's peak never left her mind. In return, she received short answers that usually start with, "Sarah darling, we have better not to talk about it." Those limited answers derive more eagerness and dominate Sarah's mind and heart. After thoughtful thinking, Sarah made her mind. She will go and see by herself. She gets her parents' permission, and the next day she puts on her clothes and she begins her journey. Sarah is a clever girl. She never went to eat without a spoon. She gets well prepared and sets all needed tools and supplies for her wearying trip. Climbing the mountain was a very hard and exhausting task. The peak was too high, and the road was too risky. One wrong step might cause a real danger. The young girl gathered her courage and confidence and dragged her legs carefully to reach her desired destination. Hours passed. The day is about to end. Sarah finally at the top of the mountain. Exhausted by her long trip, Sarah sat on the first flat surface near a big cave. Suddenly, she felt a hot breath hitting her back. She looked back and saw a giant dragon with red evil skin standing behind her. She was too afraid. She sat stable and couldn't move, hearing the angry roar of the creature behind her. With no reasonable cause, Sarah started to sing. She sang softly, like summer rain. In a second, the roar voice stopped, and the angry hot breaths went slowly. Sarah looked back again. She saw the angry creature laying on the ground like a puppy, listening to the young girl's song. Sarah was now able to see clearly how big, scary, and powerful this dragon was, with his immense claw and gigantic teeth. One thing that was too obvious and terrifying was the big black fang showing up from his mouth like an evil sword. Sarah pushed her hand inside her bag and grabbed a big piece of bread and threw it toward the beast. The beast opened his mouth and ate the bread instantly, giving Sarah a look of satisfaction. From nowhere, a big snake appeared and tried to bite Sara. Sara was too scared and she fell, trying to rapidly escape the danger. But with a glimpse, the giant dragon stormed the snake and smashed her head with one stroke of his claw. All the fear that Sara had disappeared. She knew that moment that the scary beast was protecting her, and he will never harm her. Sara spends the night on the mountain. Although the night was too cold, Sara didn't feel chill because the beast's breath warmed her all night. When Sara woke up, she told the dragon that she cannot stay because her mother will be worried. She promised the dragon that she will visit him again, and sadly climbed down the mountain toward home. One week passed. Today is different. Sara looked up to the mountain and noticed that the dark fog that normally surround the mountain's peak disappeared. She had a bad feeling about that and decided to climb up again to check on her friend, the red dragon. The next day, Sara climbed up the mountain again. As soon as her feet touched the peak, the dragon appeared, like he was waiting for her all that time. The dragon looked different. He was too happy to see Sara. Swarmed with happiness, the dragon put the young girl on his back and flied over the mountain. Sara didn't see a more fantastic view before. It was undescribable feeling. Sara shared the cookies she baked with her friend. Delighted by her flying adventure, she spent all evening singing and talking. She sensed that even her friend, the dragon, couldn't talk her back. He felt and understood each word. She noticed something different that day. The beast, ugly black Fang, was getting smaller. It shrinks. Sadly, Sara had to climb down the mountain toward her home. She couldn't sleep over again that night. She didn't want her parents to get worried. Another week passed. The young girl felt that she missed her friend, and again prepared herself for another trip to visit him. When Sara reached the peak, the dragon appeared again and instantly blew a beam of fire toward the sky, celebrating the visit of his friend. The scene was marvelous. The dragon was welcoming Sara with fireworks. Sara was very happy with the warm welcome. Sara looked at the dragon. The black Fang was much smaller. She told the beast to open his mouth and carefully touched the black Fang. Suddenly, something really odd starts to happen. The black Fang fell down, and the dragon started to morph strangely. In seconds, Sara was facing a handsome young man. She moved back, but the man comforts her, saying with a calm tone, "Don't be afraid. This is me, your friend, the dragon. Finally, I can speak up and tell you that I was under an evil spell, and you saved me with your kindness and care." The man continued. You were a real friend. You brought happiness to my frozen heart and melted it down with your warm spirit. The couple climbed down, and from that day inhabitants of the Firefolk Shadow could see the peak of the mountain. The dark fog has disappeared, and each time people look up, they remember the story of a young girl that turned a dragon to a prince.